It was 50 years ago today that the World's Fair opened in Flushing Meadow Park, just a few days after the Mets played their first game at nearby Shea Stadium. And much of the World's Fair infrastructure remains to this day not all that many steps away from Citi Field. At Citi Field in New York, the New York Mets play the St. Louis Cardinals. One of the most iconic parts of Citi Field is the Jackie Robinson Rotunda, and we thought we'd take our opening on the road tonight and head downstairs to a place where we never get to be very much, in the Rotunda. And a pleasant good evening, everybody. I'm Gary Cohen. Keith Hernandez alongside. Ron Darling will be with us a little later on as the Mets take on the Cardinals in Game 2 of their series. Mets won last night 2-0. There's a special aura about being here in the Rotunda, the memories of Jackie Robinson and all of the feeling of the feel of Ebbets Field and the way this place was built. It's really a very special experience.
And I think it's very appropriate what they did. Remember, there were two National League teams back in the 40s when Jackie broke in. You had the New York Giants, of course, up in Coogan's Bluff, and you had the Brooklyn Dodgers, of course, where Jackie broke in. So this is really the only representative team of the National League, and it's very appropriate that you have this wonderful rotunda here in honor of Jackie.
And of course, we're standing in front of Jackie's iconic number 42 in the center of the rotunda. As for the Mets, they won 2-0 last night over the Cardinals. They got great pitching. They got spectacular defense. Not all that much offense these days for the Mets, although the signs have been pointing upward for their rookie catcher, Travis d'Arnaud.
Well, he was the big guy in the trade with Dickey with the Toronto Blue Jays, and he struggled last year, if you recall, and got off to a slow start this year. But he is resilient. He's starting to swing the bat good. I saw him starting to swing the bat good, Gary, on the road trip in California when they played the Angels in Los Angeles, and he's carried it over 4 for his last 8. I know it's a small package right there, but he is definitely swinging the bat better.
Also on the upswing is Dylan Gee, who's pitched very well in the early season, but got his first good result last time out in Arizona with 7 scoreless innings.
Well, I always loved Dylan, and he had, a 74 pitch count. I thought he could have gone 8 innings, maybe gone a complete game. The big issue with Dylan's getting past that 7th inning, and he did in Arizona and threw really brilliantly. He's a control pitcher. He's 2-1 lifetime against the Cardinals.
And on the other side, Adam Wainwright, and for all the problems the Mets have had, well, they had against him in the postseason, they've done a great job against him in the regular season.
Well, the Mets are he's 2-4 against the Mets with an ERA over 6. So they've roughed him up, but he's coming off a complete game this last time out. He is one of the premier pitchers in baseball.
So it's G for the Mets and Wainwright for the Cardinals as the Mets and Cards meet for the second time. When we come back, Kevin Burkhardt alongside Mets reliever Carlos Torres. Come on back, all the action on SNY.
Burt Card. We wait for Gary and Keith to find their way upstairs to the booth, and we tell you that Mets baseball on SNY tonight is brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds by State Farm. Today's State Farm agent of the day is John Garfinkel of Brooklyn. Contact John's office at johngarfinkel.com. By Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on the most exciting lineup ever. Shop at choosenissan.com. By Xerox, the company that simplifies the way work gets done. And by the Hyundai 100,000 Reasons event, now through April 30th. You can follow every Mets game with MLB.com at bat on your favorite mobile phone or tablet. Get live look-ins, instant replay, scores, stats, audio, free MLB.TV game of the day, and more. Download on the App Store or visit Mets.com today. Well, Carlos Torres has been terrific for the Mets, appearing in 10 games already. A key part in last night's victory, and I caught up with him on the field just a little while ago. Yeah, Carlos, what's been impressive, you've shown an ability not only to pitch a ton on back-to-back days, but you'll go from coming in to getting out to coming in to pitching 3 innings. How do you condition your arm to be able to be in that type of shape to do whatever's called?
You don't really. It's just you do whatever you're asked to do. Like the other day, Familia hasn't gone 3 innings. I don't think I've ever seen him in his life do it. Yeah. And we asked him to do it, and he did a tremendous job. Didn't end up being the way we did it, but we're all adapted the same way. Just we all make the changes we need to do to fill whatever role we need.
This bullpen does a lot of things together. I know you kind of all walk out to the bullpen together. How about the togetherness as a group? I mean, when it started off the first series, I know it was not how you wanted it to go, but since then, the entire bullpen has really picked it up.
I mean, like we said then, it's a really long season, so we have ups and downs. We just try to manage those as best we can all the time, and we have each other's back, and we all try to do everything we can for the team. So,
you know, for you were in Japan a couple years ago, and you know, you had the 1 year with Colorado, but it seems like you found a home. You're coming off a year full of career best. How comfortable are you in New York?
Just rolling in every day, trying to do the same thing, trying to stay consistent. We all are, and working hard. That's all you can do every day.
All right, Carlos, have a great game tonight. Thanks for the time.
Appreciate it.
Carlos and that bullpen have been red hot for the Mets. They've won the last 2 here at home. Looking for more against the Cardinals tonight. Gary, Keith, and Ron have the call. The first pitch is coming up next on SNY.
Johnny Peralta, who's really been struggling, gets dropped to 7th in the batting order. Colton Wong, who sat last night, gets the start over Mark Ellis. Otherwise, the same unit. They got shut out last night by the Mets as Dylan G steps to the mound to face Matt Carpenter, who was 2 for 4 last night. And G's first pitch of the night is hit in the air along the left field line. Over comes Eric Young. 1 pitch and 1 retired as Carpenter is down on the fly ball. Well, we promised you that Ronnie would join us after our jaunt down to the Rotunda. Nice to see you.
I haven't gotten my TSA clearance for the Rotunda. Once I do, I'm there next time, I promise.
It was a fun experience, I thought.
I enjoyed it.
It was beautiful down there, and you guys had a great open. Dylan G has had a lot of great games in a Mets uniform. None better than his game against Arizona in his last start. 72 pitches over 7 innings.
Now and Craig 2 for 4 last night as he tries to fight his way out of a season-opening slump. One of the keys to G's success has been his unbelievable ability to get the leadoff hitter out. Leadoff hitters in innings are now 2 for 27 with 2 walks this year against G. Get the first guy out, you got a pretty good chance of having a clean inning.
You know, we've talked about that a lot, you Met fans. I know you've heard it. Everyone says strike one. Tom Seaver used to say out one. Get the first guy out in every inning. It makes it easier to get out of the inning if you get in some trouble.
Now second Matt.
How many times did you give up a leadoff hit?
He got the leadoff hit. That was the problem.
Yes, he did. Matt Holliday waits on deck. G behind on Craig 3-0. And he takes a strike. Mets starters have really kicked it in gear. Last 7 games, the Mets starting pitchers have a 1.84 ERA, and G was a big part of that in Arizona with 7 scoreless innings. Took him just 72 pitches to get through 7 innings. And we found it a little strange that he was pulled after those 72 pitches, but given the fact that he's had late inning troubles, you can understand Terry Collins' rationale.
I think they just wanted him to get out of an inning without that heartbreak that had happened the previous 4 times. That's all it was.
He's worked his way back to 3-2 against Craig with 1 out. And Craig hits the comebacker, and G, who always feels his position well, makes the play for the second out.
And we'll take a look at your Metsy defense. Cardinal defense, excuse me. No, Mets defense. I mean, that's not brought to you by Coors Light.
God, I missed that trade.
That's happened twice.
It's quite a trade in the afternoon.
Need this.
I will say, if the Cardinals are defending the Cardinals, it's like Bugs Bunny, right?
It puts me at sea.
Here's Holliday, went 0 for 4 last night. Holliday, like Craig, kind of struggling. He's 5 for 26 on the Cardinals' current road trip. This has been a long trip for St. Louis. They started out in Milwaukee, where they won 2 of 3. Went to Washington, where they split 4, and another 4-game series here. So they will have played 11 games by the time the trip is over. Seems like every team has more longer trips this year.
Well, not only trips, but the Mets, I believe, have 3 10-game series here this year, which is a nice thing.
Well, part of that, I think, is because with the Mets is because they have the interleague games against the AL West. Curveball pulled right over the bag. A fair ball off the tarp. Karams right out to Young. Holliday hits for second as to turn on the Jets. Young still coming in, and he is out. Holliday had shut it down coming around first, thinking he had an easy double, but the ball caromed out to Eric Young, who guns him down for the final out of the inning.
Well, it's the angle right down the line. That angle right there kicks that ball out to the left fielder, and that's advantage for the Mets. Visiting teams. Nice throw, nice tag.
That helps G get through the first. Mets come to bat, no score. Lineup tonight. After a terrific night last night, Ruben Tejada out of the lineup because Omar Quintanilla has good career numbers against Adam Wainwright. Lucas Duda back in there as well after Josh Satin started against the lefty last night.
Well, you see his record just coming off a shutout, 102 wins in his career, led the National League in wins, games started, and innings pitched last season.
Eric Young takes a strike. Eric has a very odd juxtaposition going right now. He's won for his last 17, but he's reached base in 16 straight games. So he's not getting his hits necessarily, but he's getting on. And Wainwright quickly ahead of him 0-2.
Oh, you've got a pitcher here in Wainwright, that throws strikes. So this is get in the box and be ready to hit because you don't want to get behind the count in this guy. He's got an electric Uncle Charlie. Oh, a little bit of rain.
And we will have a little bit of light rain off and on tonight. There was rain late this afternoon. The tarp was on the field till an hour before the game. There's the curveball from Wainwright, 1-2. Young, Granderson, and Wright to try and get the Mets something in the first inning, which has been the Mets' best inning this year. Mets have scored 14 first inning runs in their 19 games. Patrons came armed with the umbrellas tonight. Wainwright with the 1-2, and it's fouled away on the cutter.
It's like Wainwright's fastball is sneaky.
Big, tall, 6'7". Doesn't throw 95 like you did before, but he'll cut it, he'll sink it, he'll rise it, and then that good curveball Keith was talking about.
He's coming off a complete game. Outstanding outing his last time out.
2-hit shutout against the Nationals 5 days ago. Last year, second in the Cy Young balloting behind Clayton Kershaw. He went 19-9, 2.94 ERA, 2 more wins in the division series against the Pirates. 2-2 to Eric, and he hits a slow ground ball down to first. Adams to Wainwright, who beats Young to the bag for the first out.
And the Cardinal defense.
I've already seen them.
Ta-da!
Brought to you by Coors Light, the Silver Bullet. Matt Holliday, John Jay, and Alan Craig in the outfield. On the infield, Carpenter, Peralta, Wong gets the start today, and Matt Adams. And there's your battery. Yadier Molina, Adam Wainwright.
The silver bullet, it's so fast you see it twice.
I mean, it goes around.
Yeah.
Comes back. Curtis Granderson trying to stop an 0-for-19 skid. Struck out 3 times last night. Also got hit by a pitch.
I know it's pale in comparison. Would it surprise you that Wainwright has the second most strikeouts in Cardinals history? That surprised me. Well, Gibby's got over 3,000, so I mean it's not even close. But still, it was a little surprising. Forget how long he's been here.
Granderson hits it well to left center. Jay over in the gap and gets to it for the second out. Well, the Cardinals picked up Wainwright from the Braves in December of 2003 in a deal that brought Atlanta J.D. Drew. And it's a rare event that the Braves sign a kid who was a local kid, Brunswick, Georgia, and they let him get away.
You know, the Braves always were looking for that bat to go along with those great pitchers, and Drew was their choice at that time.
So now Wainwright faces David Wright, who's riding a 12-game hitting streak, hitting .370 over the 12 games. David's got good career numbers against Wainwright, 5 hits and 14 at-bats. By the way, third on the Cardinal strikeout list, Dizzy Dean.
Yeah, that's cool. The thing about Wainwright is that he's the closest version to me of Dave Stewart, who was with the A's. He really has that game face. I know he was taught it by Chris Carpenter, who was his mentor, but really serious out there about his work.
No, Wainwright in select company. And remember, he missed a full season, and yet in the top 5 in wins over the last 7 years.
Well, we've heard of 3 fingers Brown. Wainwright throws the 1-finger curveball.
Met fans know it well. Right, fouls back the fastball. Well, we talk a lot about, you know, the Cardinals and the way they start pitchers in the bullpen sometimes before they make their starting debuts, and you know, in reference to the Mets maybe doing that. And Wainwright was really he was the prototype for that. Came up in 06 to help the Cardinals win a World Series out of the bullpen.
Mike Matheny, the manager of the Cardinals. This is his third season.
Third
at the helm.
Been in the postseason 2 years in a row. Right, gets dusted 1-2.
Now these the Cardinal pitchers, Keith, they use this early and often.
That's a good purpose pitch right there.
We double up in. You don't very rarely see that in today's game.
Molina moves away. And that cutter just missed. 2-2. Seventh pitch of the at bat coming from Wainwright to merely right. Hit on the ground right at Colton Wong. And Wainwright has himself a 1-2-3 opening inning. On to the second we go. Mets and Cards, no score. Second inning, no score. Matt Adams leads off for the Cardinals against Dylan G. Adams 0 for 4 last night. He had been red hot coming into the series, and he takes the slow curve for a strike. It'll be Adams, then Yadier Molina and John Jay for St. Louis in the second. The Cardinals 11-9 on the year. Back-to-back curveballs from G. We don't see that often.
Backdoor curved it, and then on the inside corner came back with a good one. And we'll get to the Mets defense. That's brought to you by Lexus and Eric Young, Chris Young, and Granderson as your three outfielders. Your starting outfielders. Quintanilla gets a start today.
Slap to third. Wright was playing well off the line, has to retreat to get it, and Adams beats it out. Well, the Mets shifted enough so that Wright had too far to go to get that ball to be able to throw out Adams.
David's got to throw off the back foot and off balance. And let's take a peek. Yep, he beat it.
You know, the thing about these shifts, guys, is that they look beautiful when the ball is hit right at the shift. But any 5 feet either way, it makes for a very difficult play.
Here's Yadier Molina, the hottest hitter in the Cardinals lineup.
Well, they say that Adams has been using the whole field that they shifted on him, and he's just gone into the opposite field. Hit it where it's pitched, and that'll get him to play straight up.
Well, that was just a 2-strike defensive swing, and something good happened by putting the ball in play. 1-1 to Molina.
What it does as a pitcher, then, it tells you, and this is the pitch to Molina, changeup, I believe, that it takes away your outside fastball if you're pitching to Adams with 2 strikes, because that's what he wants to do, is just poke it out there.
That infield hit by Adams, the first hit by a cleanup batter against Dylan G this year. They had been 0 for 12 against him. Molina riding a 12-game hitting streak. 3 straight years. 300 batting average. Not too many people do that. Pudge Rodriguez, Mike Piazza, Ted Simmons, and going back to the 30s, Bill Dickey with the Yankees.
Simple good hit, huh, Keith?
Yes, one of the best switch hitters. Actually, I saw 2 of the best switch hitters. It was Reggie Smith when I came up, and Ted Simmons. 3-4 in the lineup.
And G paints the outside corner, 2-2.
And Molina was the first catcher to hit 300 since Ted Simmons for the Cardinals. And I had the year I led the league in hitting, I had Ted Simmons hitting behind me, and I was the young kid. They weren't going to pitch to Ted Simmons if they fell behind, switch hitter. And so they pitched to me, and as a result, I got a lot of cheese. 2-0, 2-1.
I tried to hit like Reggie Smith when I was 7 and 8 years old. Let's just say it didn't work out very well.
Well, he had that unique stance with a bat held high over his head. 3-2 and nobody out. Adams a very slow runner at first. He's running, and Molina strikes out. The throw by d'Arnaud. Easy tag by Quintanilla for the strike him out, throw him out, double play. Now that's the risk you run with a guy like Adams on base if you run him.
Right? Oh, fastball beats him right down the pipe. Wow.
Well, 5 batters into this game for the Cardinals. They've had 2 runners thrown out on the bases.
Boy, for Quintanilla, that's like tagging the 7 train, isn't it? Oh, man.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now John Jay takes a strike. Jay 0 for 3 last night. And for right now, he appears to have won back his center field job from Peter Burgess, for whom the Cardinals traded in the offseason. Now he went around on that half swing on the curveball. It's 0-2.
He didn't go there, did he?
No, he didn't. It's just automatic.
This is getting a little ridiculous.
It's been this way for a long time. It's just like an automatic.
No, I think that there's all kinds of tools you can go to if you're trying to quicken up the game in a year that you come out with instant replay. One of them would be check swings, wouldn't it?
Slap toward the hole. Tough play on the backhand, and Quintanilla can't come up with it cleanly. And Jay is aboard.
That'll be a hit there, won't it?
No, it's got to be an E6.
E6, okay.
Even with that ball coming up?
I thought it came up on him.
Sorry. I wouldn't gripe if they gave me an error in that.
Howie Carpin is our scorer.
It did come up, but
great scorer.
It's got to be an error. I've received errors on bad hops.
Howie's thinking it over.
Okay.
So 2 out, Jay at first, and Howie sides with Keith.
Don't let me influence you, Howie.
You know, Howie said to me today he's got a little bit of a bad hip, so he might be a little contrary today.
A little feisty?
Yeah.
Here's Johnny Peralta, 0 for 3 last night, 0 for his last 15, so Mike Matheny dropped him to 7th in the order tonight. Peralta had 164, but he leads the Cardinals with 4 home runs. Cracks one to left. Young comes on, side retired. Bullet off the bat of Peralta, but G gets through the top of the 2nd. Murphy leads off for the Mets when we come back. You can get interactive with SNY Game Day on SNY.TV, featuring pitch-by-pitch coverage, player cards, and in-depth stats. Check out SNY Game Day on SNY.TV, your online home of all things New York sports. Danny Murphy leads off the home second and takes ball one from Wainwright. Murphy 6 for 11 against Adam Wainwright.
Murph always talks to the umpire after the first pitch.
Gets one off the fists. Wong retreating, and he gets there for the out.
Well, you can see early on the kind of athleticism that Colton Wong has. Those young legs and great ability. He's still learning how to hit at this level, but made that not a difficult play, but he made it look easy.
The Birds on the bat. That classic Cardinal uniform.
Here's Chris Young making his 5th straight start since coming off the disabled list. Went 1 for 4 last night. And a liner into left. Holiday reaching down, knocks it down, but Young has a base hit. Now Holiday kept that ball from going behind him, but never really had a chance to catch that ball. And Young has the Mets' first hit of the night.
Well, Holiday's challenged out there defensively in the outfield. A nice effort right there, but he does keep the ball in front. No extra base hit. It just brings to mind that error that he made in that playoff game with Dodgers. Oh my gosh.
Well, that was a much more catchable ball.
Yes, and just wanted no place to hide. Just want to dig a hole.
Here's Lucas Duda with 1 out and 1 on. Duda came off the bench last night and flied out as a pinch hitter. Cutter is nasty, isn't it?
Ronnie and I had the same reaction.
Like that is late, tight, and darting inside.
Ronnie's reaction is, gosh, nice pitch. Mine is, oh, completely different, but nice pitch.
1-1 to Lucas, and he takes the curveball in the dirt. Molina stops it. Molina catching Wainwright. The 164th start that Wainwright has made with Molina behind the plate. Only one current pair of teammates have hooked up more, and that's the Phillies combination of Cole Hamels and Carlos Ruiz.
Who's number 1 on that list for the Cardinals? Gibby?
That would be Gibson and McCarver.
Yeah, of course.
But I mean, Ronnie, we talk all the time about how great Molina is, and he is. But for any pitcher to have that kind of relationship, long-term relationship with a catcher, it's got to be a great advantage.
You know, I can only address the longest-term relationship I have with a catcher was Gary Carter, who just, you know, it evolves, Gary. It really does. It's a, you know, you start out sometimes, it can be contentious at times because, you know, you're two type A males out there battling, and you think you're right and he thinks he's right. And then it evolves after you have a real 4 or 5 or 6 great games of success. Then it builds into, boy, we've got something special here. And that's when you take it to a different level where trust. It's all about trust. You get into a key situation and he calls the pitch and you say to yourself, that wasn't my first thought, but if he believes it, I trust him enough to go with it.
2-2 to Duda with Chris Young on first. And the curveball sits high. And Wainwright has said recently that he's evolved to the point with Molina where sometimes there's no sign.
Yeah, they don't need it.
They'll just shrug or raise an eyebrow, and they both know what that means.
I've had that before with Gary. I used to just, after I threw the pitch, when the batter was readjusting his gloves, I'd look inside. That meant, come on, I want a fastball inside. We never have to call it.
3-2 with 1 out. Young is running. Duda takes a call, third strike on the curveball, and Young is tagged out. Each team's now had to strike him out, throw him out, double play. Lucas Duda frozen on a curveball. Where have you seen that before? Molina guns down Chris Young to end the inning. Mets and Cardinals, no score after 2. Down to the Coldwell Banker home field advantage. That starting pitchers have been spectacular at Citi Field. As Colton Wong takes a strike. 3.27 at home, 4.39 on the road, and even better recently.
Remember, that number on the road includes that Niner roast that Cologne threw up in Anaheim.
The what?
The Niner roast.
Niner roast.
Overcooked. Exactly.
Wong, the rookie second baseman, with a defensive cut to stay alive. Wong is 23 years old, first round pick by the Cardinals in 2011 out of the University of Hawaii at Manoa.
Big Island.
Thought it was right next to Honolulu.
No, I think he's a Big Island kid. I could be wrong though.
No, maybe that's where he's from, but I think the University of Hawaii Manoa is. I think it's a suburb of Honolulu.
Outside of Honolulu.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
I don't believe there's been a big leaguer from there before. Curveball from G, and that just missed. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
That's a good pitch there.
Well, they moved Matt Carpenter to third base to make room for Wong, who has not yet hit, but they expect him to. Duda makes the play, and that's the first out of the inning. Third inning of tonight's game is brought to you by your Tri-State Audi dealers and the all-new Audi A3. Well, now Wainwright, one of the better hitting pitchers in the game. Since his career began in 2006, only one pitcher has more hits than Adam Wainwright, and that was Carlos Zambrano.
Well, if you talk to Wainwright, he'll tell you. He said, listen, I've got a uniform like the rest of the 8 athletes out there. I consider myself one of the players out there. Look, it's serious, I'm telling you. No messing around for this cat.
4 hits and 9 at bats this year, so he's off to a fast start. And G falls behind him 3-0.
So evidently the Cardinals this year are on on Saturday day games are going to wear eschew the birds in the bat and go to St. Louis across their written across their chest. And that's the first time in 80 years, which would be the 34 Cardinals, which is the Gas House game. I was not aware of that.
G comes back from 3-0 to strike out Wainwright for the second out. Matt Carpenter coming up, and we check in with Kevin Burkhardt. Kevin?
Well, as you mentioned, Gary, Matt Carpenter hasn't quite to the offensive level he was last year just yet, but it's pretty easy to see why he was so good last year. I mean, his really started when he was 4 years old. His father, Rick, took him out in the backyard in Texas and would throw him balls all the time, and when he would swing at a pitch out of the strike zone, he'd say, no, you're not swinging at that. And Matt said it really stuck. Now, Rick coached him all through his life. He's been a coach, still is a high school coach in Texas, been a coach for 32 years, and that really approach, that patience has really paid off. Just go back to last year's stats. You put into Fangraphs.com, right? You look at Carpenter's O-swing percentage, which means swinging at balls, 22%, fifth best in baseball last year. And then you combine that with the fact that the pitches that were in the strike zone, he hit 95% of the time when he swung. That was sixth best in the league. So you're talking about a guy that doesn't swing when the ball's out of the strike zone, and when it's in the strike zone, he rips it. Not a bad combo, guys.
Yes, I agree, Kevin. In 20 words or less, it means he has a very good eye at the plate. He was taught that eye by his father, much the same as I was with my dad.
Low bridges G for a hard hit base hit.
Such an advantage when you don't swing at bad pitches and have a good eye.
But that other piece about that very high contact level on balls in the zone, that's got to be about his swing, right?
Well, he's got a very short, compact hitter. He's not a home run hitter. He's a leadoff guy. He knows what he has to do. Get on base, score runs. That's what he's all about. He used to have not arguments with Lenny Dykstra, but Lenny would go, I got to hit home runs to make money, dude. And I go, no, Lenny, you hit 300, get an on-base percentage of 400, and you score 110 runs, you're going to make a lot of money.
But at the end of the day, it wasn't until he started hitting home runs that he made the big money.
Wow.
However it is that he did that. So you're not wrong, but neither was he.
Lenny wanted to be a star, and he did. He became a star.
He did.
He had some incredible postseasons. And I tell you what, he got key hits for us, RJ.
Big, always big hits.
He was a really good player with the Mets, but he became a superstar when he went to the Phillies. G ahead on Craig 0-2. And he takes strike three called, and Craig in disbelief. G has his third strikeout. A base hit and one left. G continues to put up zeros. That's 10 in a row for him.
That's a beautiful
Great shot. Whoa.
I'll say.
Huh?
Yep.
Adam Wainwright back to the mound for the bottom of the third to face Travis d'Arnaud, of whom Keith spoke during the open today. 4 hits in his last 8 at bats. And some positive signs for d'Arnaud. Got off to such a tough start over the first week of the season.
He's hung in there. I was concerned because I remember my struggling days when I was young, and particularly playing here in New York. It's much more difficult, but he's got perseverance.
It's the first one in the air out to left, and Holiday's right there. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Honda. Get a great deal during the Spring Into a Honda sales event by Cholula Hot Sauce, the hot sauce with the iconic wooden cap, available in original flavor, chili lime, chili garlic, and chipotle. And by Lexus, introducing a car designed with one purpose: to stand apart. The 2014 Lexus IS. It's your move. Scenes from the World's Fair, which opened 50 years ago today.
And you said you went, right?
Not opening day.
Oh, okay. But what do you remember from the World's Fair?
I remember mostly the car exhibits, the GM and the Ford exhibits. They had, what now would be something rather simple, but they had motorized vehicles that moved through the exhibit and punch buttons, and the exhibit talked to you, and it was all about promoting their products, but it was also technology that you weren't accustomed to seeing in those days, and they were very cool for a 6 or 7 year old, which is what I was.
Well, I certainly had never gone there, so I had to read about it a little today. And you were talking about the car exhibits. The iconic Ford Mustang was introduced at that World's Fair.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay. Now that makes sense.
Omar Quintanilla getting the start tonight because of good numbers against Wainwright. 4 for 12 in his career. Even though Ruben Tejada had a fine night last night. Quintanilla fouls it off his foot. The first day that the World's Fair was open, April 22nd, 1964, it rained like heck.
Oh, really?
In fact, the Mets got rained out of their game that day. Shea Stadium had opened 5 days earlier.
Huh.
And you see, that ticket was non-refundable, the $2 ticket.
Shoot.
So they were expecting 250,000 people to show up for that first day of the World's Fair, and only about 90,000 attended because it was pouring.
But I bet you that first weekend it had to be crazy.
Mm-hmm. I think I probably went 2 or 3 times over. It was in 2 years. It was 64 and 65. It was open. Pulled down first, and Adams has it. And every time that I was there, I remember it being very crowded. Now,
It's your memory, right?
6 or 7 year old. But it was very, very popular.
And little did you know at that age that there would be a tennis center there sooner down the road. Think about it.
I never gave that a moment's thought, then or now.
You were tramping on center court.
You figured Forest Hills was where it was going to stop.
I was going to say, did you ever go to the U.S. Open at Forest Hills?
No, I did not.
Yeah, I did. It was great. Parked in people's driveways.
That's right.
Really tiny little
It was
stadium.
a small atmosphere, neighborhood atmosphere.
Dylan G 0 for 7 on the year. In fact, Met pitchers are 0 for the season. Game number 20 today. Think they have a pool to see who gets the first hit?
If they don't, they better make one.
Wainwright ahead 0-2. And the curveball bloops behind second, and there is Wong, and that retires the side. So G and Wainwright matching zeros in the early going. What do you suppose that ticket would go for today?
Oh,
World's Fair, $2. Yeah, not now.
Row and fly to Shea. The World's Fair Marina is just a short jaunt away for boating bus. And it is even possible to fly in by helicopter. The glamorous World's Fair is just across the street from Shea Stadium. Some fellows find it convenient to park the wife there and go to the ball game.
Yeah, and I hear some wives do the same thing in reverse.
The voices of Bob Murphy and Lindsey Nelson in a much more sexist time.
Oh, my God.
Well, that was equal.
Matt Holliday leading off in the 4th inning against Dylan G in a scoreless game. Holliday yanked what looked like a double down the left field line, but the ball carried down to Eric Young, and Holliday was thrown out trying to stretch it. It'll be Holliday, Adams, and Molina, 3, 4, and 5 in the Cardinal batting order. G now with 10 consecutive scoreless innings. You know, when he went 7 and threw just 72 pitches, I mean, just to give you a measure of how rare that is, the last time that a Met pitcher had gone 7 innings with that few pitches, 1996. Robert Person also was against the Cardinals. And in fact, that was the only other time that a Met pitcher had thrown 7 scoreless innings and threw that few pitches. It was kind of Maddox-esque.
Yeah, right.
The difference with Maddox is Holliday walks. The difference with Maddox is there came a point in his career where he'd throw his 65 pitches for 7 innings and then take himself out of the game.
Yeah. Well, he knew he had Smoltzy sometimes back there at the back end of that bullpen. Knew he was good for the day.
It's a nice security blanket.
Right.
So the Cardinals have the leadoff man on in the 4th, and now Adams, who had an infield hit, trickled to third base his first time up.
So one of those rare times, Gary, that the first hitter gets on against Dylan.
Twice tonight. Up the middle, and Adams has his second hit of the night. Holliday pulls in at second, and the Cardinals have it brewing in the 4th. First and second, nobody out.
Well, that's 2 bullets up the middle on G. These had to die. This one was a lot closer. This ball's ripped. And that's one thing I was just going to mention, Gary. As a left-hand hitter against a right-hander, lead-off runner on first base. Doesn't matter via walk or hit. Pitcher's always going to, right-hander's always going to try to get you a rollover, hit a ground ball. I used to kind of love to sit on the outside corner and go up the middle. And that's what Adams did there. He ripped that fastball away up the middle.
Now Molina, who struck out his first time up. As part of a strike him out, throw him out double play. So G with his first real trouble of the night. And he misses with a slider for ball 1. G behind 2-0. And Molina fouls it away, 2-1.
Molina came in hitting well over 300. Got 2 hits last night, but they were able to get him out in the tough situations where he could hurt the Mets.
Although it took some great defensive plays too, right?
Mejia was just sterling yesterday, Ronnie.
Cracked into left, a base hit for Molina. Holliday goes to third and stops there. And the Cardinals have the bases loaded and nobody out. So a walk and 2 hard hit singles, and G in a mess here in the 4th inning.
All base hits, Ronnie, on the fastball this inning.
Fastball down. You know, when you're in a count that favors the hitter, you've got to be middle of the plate away, not middle of the plate in. That's where they're looking.
Well, that base hit by Molina, the first with a runner in scoring position for the Cardinals in this series. And now the table set for John Jay, who reached on an error his first time up. And the curveball bounced foul. Well, last year the Cardinals had an off-the-charts year with runners in scoring position. This year, far more human, nearly 100 points lower so far. And for a team that doesn't have much speed and doesn't have a ton of power, if they don't hit as well with runners in scoring position, that might be a problem.
Well, if you notice, it's starting to rain a little bit harder. You can play in this rain.
Well, today's ballparks are so much better at draining that you're right, Keith. 30 years ago, they would have stopped the game already.
Well, you remember old Shea. Shoot, it was a swamp out in right field.
Shea Lake.
What you worry most about now is the skin portion of the infield, because that does not drain nearly as well as the grass. But that outfield grass can absorb as much rain as you pour on it. Here's the 0-2, and it's fouled to the plate. Holiday at third, Adams at second. Molina, who now has a 13-game hitting streak, is on at first. Big out to get here for G, with Johnny Peralta waiting on deck.
Fastball in, kind of darted 0-2. If you miss, you miss in. You need a strikeout here.
And the curveball past the mound and into center field, a base hit. Holiday scores, Adams right behind him. Chris Young's throw to the plate, cut off, back to second, and back safely there is Molina. A 2-run single for John Jay, and the Cardinals jump in front 2-0. Well, he went to an 0-2 curveball, and Jay hit it.
Well, if you notice, before he delivered the pitch, Travis d'Arnaud patted the plate, which means he wanted him to bounce that curveball and try to get Jay to swing over the top. He threw it for a strike instead, and it cost him.
Boy, Molina almost got himself picked off there, and all due to the throw. Here's the back runner, Adams. Ball not hit horribly hard, but so critical to hit the cutoff man. They almost got an out. If he overthrows due to the cutoff man, it's first and third.
So 4 straight Cardinals have reached base to start this 4th inning. A walk and 3 singles. That's produced 2 runs. And now Johnny Peralta, who hit a bullet his first time up, lining out to left. So the Cardinals getting some good swings against G. And now cashing in a pair here in the 4th. So after 10 straight scoreless innings, G sees that end. Molina now at second and Jay at first with nobody out. With a half swing, he went around, and it's 0-2.
Peralta's one of those rhythmic hitters, big leg kick with that front foot.
G ahead in the count, 0-2. Nice pick by Jose Candu.
Wilson Pickett.
Cheo.
It's been 30 years since.
And the opposite right there. Clank.
30 years since Kendo made his debut as a 19-year-old with the Mets. He could pick him then, he could pick him now.
His nickname was Cheo when he played for us.
Again, the 0-2. Stairs, 1-2.
Might to this day have the best arm I've ever seen a shortstop have, and that includes Mr. Dunston.
Really?
Yes, that's how good it was.
Peralta fouls away the fastball. Hard-working inning for Dylan G. Peralta now in an 0 for 16 hole. Colton Wong, the number 8 hitter, waiting on deck. And now it's 2-2 to Peralta.
This is a pitching crazy. 72 pitches it took him to get through 7 innings in Arizona, and he's at 65 right now in the 4th. Cardinal team, a little different animal than that Arizona Diamondback team.
Dylan, I'm afraid we're not in Arizona anymore. And now a full count to Peralta. So it's just not going where he wants to right now.
Has he got the guts really to make a secondary pitch here? He's a little bit in trouble. Let's see what he features.
2 on, nobody out. And Peralta takes just off the plate for ball 4, and now the bases have been reloaded.
Now, Ronnie, you mentioned earlier the low strike. He punched out Craig on that low pitch. That's at the same elevation.
I thought it was. I thought the difference, Keith, is this one might have been a little more out than Craig's. Well, that's real close. Could have gone either way.
I thought it was a ball.
Yeah.
So 5 straight Cardinals have reached base. 2 have scored. Still nobody out. And now Wong, who grounded out to Duda his first time up. He takes a fastball for a strike.
Mets back to play for 2, except for David Wright at the corner, playing at the cut of the grass in the hole at third base. Then now Duda looks like he's coming in. Or, yep, he's coming in too. So in at the corners.
Well, Jerry's Familia gets an early call in the Mets bullpen, with G struggling just to get an out here in the 4th inning. And Wong fouls back 1-2.
Well, this game was a great indication of, when Dylan's at his best, Gary, he's unpredictable. You never know what pitch he's going to throw in any count. That right there, 3 straight fastballs to Wong. More predictable this evening.
What we haven't seen a lot of is Dylan's changeup, which often has been his best pitch.
Changeup. We've seen some curveballs. We've seen some cutters and sliders, but you're right.
He's already thrown 27 pitches in this inning and still doesn't have an out.
He needs a double play big time.
He needs a comebacker. That's what he needs. 1, 2, 3.
You got the pitcher on deck, but the pitcher's a pretty good hitter in Wainwright. So fewer soft spots than normal, and now Darno is out for a conversation with G.
When I would have a catcher come out in this situation, because a 2-2 count, I would always give the catcher 2 pitches. This pitch, and if it doesn't work, the next pitch. So there's no timing problem at 3-2.
Rounded down to first. Duda coming home with it. Gets the force there. And no other throw. So they erase Molina for the first down on that slowly hit ground ball on the 3-2 putout. And the bases remain loaded with 1 out.
That was the changeup you were looking for, Gary.
And 3 players you don't want to hit it to, and you hit it to them, and nothing makes you more angry. The corner infielder's in or the pitcher.
So now Wainwright, who struck out his first time up after G fell behind him 3-0. Wainwright has 6 career home runs. Cardinals with 2 across here in the 4th. Bases loaded, 1 out. Down to third. Wright's coming home with it. Darno with a throw to first. No, first it gets taken out and hangs onto the ball. Looked like he was going to make the throw, but then he got leg whipped by John Jay. And Terry Collins is going to come out and perhaps challenge whether Jay went after Darno without the plate being blocked.
He has an avenue to the plate. Can you collide or take the catcher out? It's a play that's always been used, but maybe with the new rules, you can't. Right. He's got the alley, and he goes after him.
He went out of his way. There's no question. He changed his path, and that's part of what the rule says, that you can't change your path to go after the catcher.
But it's the right play for 100 years. But
I'm just glad that Travis's knee, or there wasn't any damage done to him.
And Terry's gone back into the dugout. He went to the home plate umpire, Jeff Kellogg, I think to ask for a clarification about the rule, because this is a different kind of play, you know.
The play on this is very similar to a double play.
Right.
Is that you're breaking up the double play with the catcher making the turn.
And he was not but 6 inches out of the line, inside the line.
Well, you still have to be able to touch the plate. And he certainly could. Went right over it.
That's fine. If you're using the rules that you use around second base, there's no question it's a legit play. The question is, does that change with the new rules? And apparently not. So now 2 out, bases loaded for Carpenter, who singled his last time up. And that one sailed on G for ball 1.
And a tough out right here. And this is when you always talk about the 2-out RBI. You got a pitcher here who's 1 out away from getting out of a serious jam. And this could be deflating right here, a base hit.
Now G behind 2-0. Carpenter, the 8th man to bat of the inning. It all started with a walk to Holiday, then 3 consecutive singles by Adams, Molina, and Jay. Peralta walk. That's got a couple of forces at the plate. Peralta now at third, Wong at second, and Wainwright at first.
This guy reminds me a little of you, Keith. You know, not the same swing and not the same stance or whatever, but his patience reminds me a little of when you play.
On the inside corner, 2-1. Well, the last 2 years, Cardinals have specialized with runners in scoring position. Carpenter, one of the prime movers.
Big pitch right here.
And he takes a strike. 2-2.
I always used to think of this when you're on the mound, close pitch on the outside corner, is that this is a game over out. If you do not get this out against Wainwright pitching, it might be game over.
Yep.
So you have to get it.
Peralta at third, Wong at second, Wainwright at first with 2 out. 33 pitches deep into this 4th inning. G has one more big one to make. And Carpenter swings and misses, strike 3. G does very well to limit the damage to 2 runs. Gets out of a bases loaded, nobody out situation. After Adams, Molina, and Jay put together consecutive hits to score 2, G limits them to just that.
All right, fans, this is our call to action for you folks out there. It's now time for tonight's AT&T fan photo of the game. Tweet or Instagram your photo using hashtag SNYFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown later in tonight's Wago. That's a game.
Let me ask you a question. As you see the probable starters, Michael Walker against Jonathan Neese and Lance Lynn against Bartolo. What happened? Weren't you going to take some pictures of your Downton Abbey, Sag Harbor folks that kind of...
Yeah, I have.
Oh, you are?
I have them. I just haven't downloaded them on the computer and sent them to Elvis down there.
Did you just drop a Downton Abbey on Keith?
I did.
Well, the Mets now down by 2. Top of the batting order for Adam Wainwright to face. Eric Young grounded out to first, his first at bat. And he takes a knee-high strike. Young, Granderson, and Wright for New York in the 4th. Met pitchers had gone 20 straight innings without allowing a run before G gave up a pair in the top of the inning. Gets the curveball to short. Peralta there to make the play. 1 out.
Well, I'll say one thing about Peralta. They say his range is not outstanding, but he's very sure-handed at everything he gets to. Has good fundies. Not a showboat. This is routine right here. You love hops like that.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now Granderson, who flying to center his first time up, now 0 for his last 20, which is 1 shy of his longest career over. Back in 2006, he went 0 for 21 at one point. Not a personal best you want to eclipse. Thinks about a bunt with the third baseman Carpenter playing back.
Way back Carpenter at third base. Kind of moved in a little bit, but that's still deep.
And the curveball bends in for a strike. 1-2.
That's your excellent hammer right there. That's one to take.
Eddie Lynch is the first person that said it. Dwight Gooden. It's not an Uncle Charlie. It's so good. It's a Lord Charles.
1-2 to Granderson. Another curve, and this one strikes him out. Second strike out of the night for Wainwright.
See how there was a purpose with each pitch? He threw the curveball for a strike, and then the next one he took a little off and bounced it on the plate.
Did not have to throw a strike. 0-2.
That was his control. His control was to throw that out of the strike zone.
Ronnie, why does he hold the curveball with just the one finger?
Because he is trying to put all of the weight of his middle finger on that seam. Sometimes when you put both fingers on it, some of the pressure goes onto that index finger. If you use just the middle finger, all of the pressure is on that seam, and that's how he gets that great rotation. You have to have very big hands to be able to do that.
Is that harder to control than if you put the index finger on the ball?
It's not harder to control if you have very long fingers, because you have the ability to almost run your middle finger all the way down that seam.
He doesn't spike it, does he, Ron?
No, he doesn't spike it. No, he doesn't spike it. We were talking about it before. What he does, most pitchers, they'll throw their curveball like this. Tuck your thumb, and you throw your curveball like this. He just takes his finger off and runs that entire middle finger on that seam and just flips it. Just flips it like that. But you have to have incredibly strong hands, incredibly long fingers, and it's something that I've talked to him before. He's done that since he was a kid.
So it's second nature to him.
Yeah.
Wright grounded out his first time up. Wainwright 102 wins in his career. Third best winning percentage in Cardinals history. Strike 3 call. Gets the fastball over to fan David Wright. 7 in a row retired by Wainwright. He throws up a 1-2-3 after getting the lead. St. Louis. Dylan G threw 34 pitches in that fourth inning. And you see his repertoire tonight. Fewer changeups than normal. Faces Alan Craig to start the fifth inning. Craig is 0 for 2. And he rockets one to left. Eric Young going back, and he makes the catch. Well, had a lot of zip on it.
Nicely tracked down. Once he's there, you make that catch.
I think you got to give credit where credit's due. Obviously, he worked on this because this was not one of his strengths, going back on the baseball, and he's exponentially better, don't you think?
He's already robbed a home run this year. That's a whole lot better.
Eric Young was in the running for Gold Glove in left field and lost out. Very good at coming in on balls. Made some terrific catches coming in.
Well, tonight he's got that catch. He's also got an outfield assist. He threw out Holiday trying to stretch a single into a double in the first inning. Holiday's also walked and scored. His walk got that 2-run fourth inning started for St. Louis.
So Ronnie, as a pitcher, you've had a tough inning.
Yeah.
And you always mention it's always good to get into the bottom of the order and have a quick one, but now you got to cut through the teeth, the heart of the lineup.
Well, the hard part, Keith, today for me would be, I need a quick inning. You know, not only do I need to get through the inning, but I need a quick inning, because I'm starting to get to the point where the manager's looking at the pitch count. The people in the bullpen are thinking about the pitch count. You know, it's a strange time. I would never have thought about that 30 years ago, but you have to today.
1-2. Missed it foul. Well, you had a pitch count. It was just not 100 pitch count.
It was a little different. Someone was pointing out to me the other day that I threw a game when I was 32, 33 years old with 130, 140 pitches. I mean, it was just, you know, they watched you, and if you looked like you were throwing free and easy, they let you go. Not so much today. It's strange. Like let's say it's 100 pitch count. Well, when you get to 100, they're looking to take you out. But you know, if you haven't reached 100 and you're not pitching well, they try to get you to that point. Why? It's not your day.
2-2 to Holiday. The curve ball hit in the air to left. And Eric Young is settling under. 2 out.
I remember several years ago we had David Cohn in the booth, Ron, and we were interviewing him during the game, and he said there was a lot of times that he got his rhythm after 100 pitches and felt stronger.
That would happen a lot in those days. Just you know, some days you just didn't have it, and you would fight like Dylan has fought today. You know, gets through an inning where he could have given up 4 or 5. He only gave up 2. And the next thing you know, boy, now I got it. Now I'm good. I'm not going to give up anymore.
And Adams rolls over one. Duda makes the play, and G has exactly what he needed. The fast 1-2-3 inning. Through just 8 pitches. Halfway through, 2-0 Cardinals.
SNY Super Slow Motion is brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Visit them on the web at searchmercedes.com.
Boy, I tell you what, I look at that slide at home plate. I'm just so glad D'Arnaud did not get clipped, get injured.
Well, here's the other piece of that too, and I was just thinking about this as Daniel Murphy leads off the home 5th inning. Okay, so the new home plate collision rules allow a runner clearly to do what Jay did. Murph drops down a bunt, and Carpenter has no chance. Kicks it into foul ground, and Murphy has a bunt single. Perfectly executed.
Good idea, Daniel. With the third baseman playing back, you're leading off the inning. Got an ace out there that's cruising along here, shutting your team out on 1 hit through 4 innings. Nicely done. Good bunt.
That's a defensive team falling in love with the lineup, saying, you know what, the cleanup hitter's up, we can play back. Murph's not a cleanup hitter, he's just back cleanup today.
The second time Murph's batted cleanup this season.
So the Mets have just their second hit against Wainwright. Chris Young had the first, a hard hit single to left, and then was caught stealing at the end of a strike him out, throw him out double play. So getting back to that play at the plate. So you're allowed to do that, but now it's in everybody's minds that catchers don't get hit when they're defenseless, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the purpose of the new rule, that if they're not blocking the plate, they shouldn't get hit. So I wonder if that leaves them almost more vulnerable on a play like that. Young gets under one to deep left field. Back goes Holiday. Back to the warning track. Back near the wall. Makes the catch at the top of the fence. Matt Holiday, not known for his defense, takes a home run away from Chris Young. Terrific play by Holiday for the first down.
Well, this is fearless right here. Not paying attention to the wall. There's his right hand, and he did rob him. That was a rob. What a nice play. My goodness, the tie ball game right there. Gets the curve ball. That's a nice reaction from your pitcher.
Nice. Wow. Well, the Cardinals will put on the super shift against Lucas Duda. They've overlapped the third baseman Carpenter to the right side. Lucas took a call third strike his first time.
This has been a series so far, the first 2 games, with some outstanding defense.
Mets with the infield defense last night, and now that great play by Holiday that kept the Mets from tying the game. Well, some good signs for Chris Young. He's swinging the bat well.
Although he got flushing for the first time.
And Duda wailing at the curveball, 1-1. Another way for Daniel Murphy. His second career bunt hit. Second in his career.
I think I've said a couple of times on this show, well, what other show would I say it on? When defenses play him and take away the bunt, I've always said Murphy never bunts. There's no reason to take it away. But smart play by Daniel to take advantage of it. Very nice. You want to give me a knock? I'll take it.
Well, we've seen them shifting more and more against Murph, and you don't think of that as being his MO because he's not a pull hitter at all. But everybody has their charts now.
So on a steal here, who would cover second base?
Could be Peralta, could be Carpenter.
Well, Carpenter's going over there, so it makes you feel like he's the man.
You've got the shift on to take away Lucas's pull. Are you going to vacate that, negate your big extreme shift to have Carpenter cover? I think you would have Peralta cover. And he's got a long way to go to get there.
Peralta alone on the left side. 2-1 to Duda. And that misses. And now Wainwright behind, 3-1. Wainwright has not walked a batter tonight. He struck out 3. Allowed no runs at 2 hits. Travis d'Arnaud on deck.
Got to be careful here if you're Murph, because 3-1, you want to get a good lead. Molina will throw behind you.
Murphy's had 25 consecutive successful stolen base attempts, including one last night that maybe was ill-advised, but he got away with. Tomorrow, Jonas Schwartz and Joe Beningo will break down tonight's Rangers-Flyers Game 3 matchup. Plus, get a preview of tomorrow's Mets-Cardinals Game 3 as this series continues at Citi Field. Daily News Live presented by Citi tomorrow at 5, only on SNY. Well, Duda struck out his last time. Do you send Murph here?
I would not. Not down 2 runs.
And he's not. And Duda takes it right up the middle for a base hit. Murphy takes the turn and holds at second. And the Mets have 2 men on.
Nice hitting by Lucas. Wants to come inside. And he misses too much plate. Nice hitting by Lucas. Mid-thigh.
You know, as a pitcher, Keith, your thought there is 3-2. You want to come inside, but you got to throw a strike too because it's 3-2. So sometimes you bite up too much plate, and that's what gave the single up to Duda.
So now the tying runs are on base. Travis d'Arnaud, the batter. Travis swung at the first pitch he saw from Wainwright, flying out his first time up.
We'll see how Wainwright attacks young d'Arnaud here. This is a critical 2 outs he needs right here.
d'Arnaud is a first pitch swinger. Likes to be aggressive.
This time takes a strike.
Little cutter. Pretty much straight up for d'Arnaud.
Craig is very deep in right field.
One from Wainwright. And a curveball outside. The ball and a strike. Well, we saw d'Arnaud bang one off the right center field fence last night.
Showed some really nice power to the opposite field.
Murphy at second, due to the tying run at first, with 1 out. And d'Arnaud shoots 1 foul.
That was the one to hit right there. That was a cutter, Ronnie, and he got on top of it too much.
Middle.
Right down Broadway. Oh, boy. May not get another one to hit like that.
If he'll try to come inside, Keith, with that little slider that starts off the hip of d'Arnaud.
Curveball hit sharply to short, should be 2. And Wong makes the turn for the easy 6-4-3 double play. So the Mets had a chance in that inning. They would have had runs had it not been for Matt Holliday going over the fence to take a 2-run homer away from Chris Young. It stays 2-0 St. Louis.
Yadier Molina leads it off for the Cardinals. 2-0. They lead the Mets here in New York. Meanwhile, down in Washington, some history. Albert Pujols with home run number 500 in his career moments ago. The 26th player in history to do it. Boy, he's gotten hot. All of a sudden, Pujols has 8 home runs on the year. So congratulations go out to him as Gianluca work it here in the 6th inning. You know, guys, we've heard a lot and we've talked a lot from spring training on about these young men arms, especially the guys that you feel are kind of on the precipice of being here. You're talking about Noah Syndergaard and Jake DeGrom and Rafael Montero. Well, who better to get a scouting report? They check on the swing. He did not go around. Who better to get the scouting report from Chris Young? He played 3 games in AAA with Vegas, and those 3 games he saw all 3 guys get 1 start. He said, yeah, you know, it's impressive in a lot of ways. He said, first of all, I was here to get work, and I didn't get a lot of work defensively because no one hit the ball to me. But he said they have the hunger. You can see that. They have confidence, but yet they're poised and mellow during the game. Like they feel like they belong. And he said, I'll tell you one thing. They were a step above the guys that I faced. And the way to describe it is, you know, a lot of guys at any level, especially down there, they're kind of feeling their way through. They're hoping that somebody doesn't come up and bang one off the wall. He said, with those guys, they have the stuff, and not only have the stuff, but have the confidence to attack with that stuff. That's what I saw from all 3 of them. Duda will make this play, 1 out, back upstairs. Back to you, Garrett.
Well, that's what we saw when Matt Harvey came up. He had that extra thing that you can't really quantify beyond the stuff that he brought to the mound.
I would think that Harvey took a step forward when it came to the major leagues from the minor leagues. Most guys come, they're ready to go, they're ready to show their mettle. But for me, it's almost like Harvey felt more comfortable at the big league level than he did at AAA.
There's John Jay, who drove in the 2 Cardinal runs with a base hit in the 4th.
Well, I was impressed with all 3 of those pitchers in Syndergaard, of course, DeGrom, and Montero.
Jay hits it out to right. Granderson measures it. 2 out. Hold that thought, Keith. We're going to go to Steve Gelbs in the studio for a game break brought to you by your local Tri-Honda dealers. Two home runs sent out off Taylor Jordan of the Nats. 26th player to reach 500 home runs in his career.
Well,
next up, Eddie Murray at 504.
I don't remember giving up any milestone home runs. I thought I might have given up Andre Dawson's 300th, but I'm not sure.
Eddie Murray, by the way, hit his 400th as a Met.
We did.
Yes.
In Atlanta. Peralta hits it out to left. Eric Young moves over. And that retires the side. Of course, Gary Sheffield hit his 500th as a Met. Middle of the 6th. Cardinals 2, Mets nothing. Matt Harvey was out doing his throwing as he continues his rehab from Tommy John surgery, today being the 6th-month anniversary of that surgery. Matt had a lot to say and tweet today, but he met with the media to talk about the milestone.
I love being in New York. I love wearing a uniform, and the hardest part is not being able to play. And realizing that 6 months is a long time from when it happened. It seemed like it was almost yesterday. And, I had a lot of excitement, and throwing and everything feels extremely well, and I'm happy where I'm at. I know they say it usually takes a year for recovery, and like you said, 6 months is half the way. So at the time, I think when I was looking ahead to 6 months, it seemed like a century away. But it's been a quick 6 months, and like I said, I'm happy with the way things feel. So obviously, this morning and finishing my throwing today was a happy moment for me.
Well, it's just it's amazing when you go through this process. I never had Tommy John surgery. I had a lot of surgeries on my arm, but I always was lucky enough that I could wait till after the season and just rehab in the winter. And it is grueling and tough, and you're up every morning at 6, and with the physical therapist, and they're trying to get the bend your arm in a position where it used to be, but it can't right now. It's a lonely kind of existence.
Kirk Neuenhuis pinch hitting for Dylan G, who's out after 6 innings, having allowed 2 runs, 6 hits. All the runs coming in that one burst in the 4th inning. Of course, in addition to talking about his 6-month anniversary from surgery, Matt also today had to talk about the nonsense of having tweeted something mildly inappropriate. So it goes. Gonzalez Herman up in the bullpen. That'll be the front page news tomorrow.
Twitter has become like, for you older fans out there, it's like a Muriel cigar. Sooner or later, it's going to get you.
Well, I was talking with Terry Collins today, and he said, they encourage everybody to tweet, but they say, watch out what you tweet. Well, I mean, Twitter by its nature is off the top of your head, right?
That's right.
Not everything off the top of your head is going to be perfect. Molina catches the foul pop by Neuenhuis for the 2nd out. So Matt responded by shutting down his Twitter account, which is probably the wisest thing he could have done.
I don't get the tweetsters when you're playing. Let the fans tweet, but players, stay away from it. Remember Josh? Catcher. We traded
Josh Toley.
He had to shut it down because he was getting berated. He was getting savaged.
So you don't mind, just don't tweet. You can be a voyeur, a Twitter person. Just follow other people.
I wouldn't go that far.
Eric Young's been up twice, grounded out both times. And he smacks one into right center for a base hit. Jake gets to it quickly and holds Young to a single. So a 2-out single for Young.
Well, you want to have sure-handed defenders out there. And Jay had a nice little backhand there going to his left for that ball.
Well, he kept Young from getting a double. We'll see whether Eric tries to get to second in a different fashion.
Does it matter to a base stealer what the hitter's been hitting or not hitting in the case of Granderson? Would it make you more apt to run because it's not showing a lot of power?
We'll never know.
Moot point. Sorry.
Adams makes the play. Granderson now 0 for his last 22, the longest 0 of his career, and sends us on to the 7th. Wainwright looking for a 2nd straight shutout, up 2-0.
Hold that thought, Ron.
That's 2 thoughts.
Too many thoughts. As part of SNY Play Ball Week, today was Grant Day. 2 $5,000 grants were awarded to the Parkchester Little League in the Bronx and the Joe Torre East Highway Little League in Brooklyn. Parkchester Little League has been in existence for 57 years. They use the grant to replace broken sprinkler heads and resurface their infield by adding more clay. The Joe Torre Little League has been around for 60 years. They were hard hit by Superstorm Sandy and desperately needed to replace old equipment that was damaged. They used their grant to restore their fields and buy a tractor. All part of SNY Play Ball Week.
Gonzalez Herman in the game. That's pretty cool. I know that, teams that play in the city, sometimes that money is used just to rent the fields for the season. It can be very expensive.
Colton Wong leading off in the 7th inning. Wong is 0 for 2. Wainwright is on deck, and then Matt Carpenter here in the 7th. And Herman sails one up and away, 1-1. Herman has stumbled a bit in his last couple of outings after a very strong stretch, and he gets Wong to pop one up. Darno back for a look, but that's out of play. 1-2. He had that 3-inning stint, Herman did, and didn't seem quite right coming out of that.
He's pitched very well. He's had one outing. He got a couple outings. He got touched up.
Yeah, 2 outings really is all. And other than that, he's been very good.
I like him out of the pen.
Seems like the closer the game is, the better he pitches also.
Wong flies one to shallow left, and Eric Young comes in. 1 out. For more on Gonzalez Herman, let's check in with Kevin.
So he had a little different route to get here, Gary. I mean, most guys that are signed out of the Dominican Republic, they're signed at 16, 17 years old. They're scouted at a very early age. Gonzalez was signed at age 20. He grew up just outside of a town called La Romana. It was kind of on the southeast side. And, I mean, not ample conditions. He grew up in a small 2-bedroom house with his mom, and then he had 4 brothers and 2 sisters. And he said basically life was, we'd go to school, come home, and our mom was working, and so we tried to help take care of the house or limit the mess that four brothers would make together. And that was it. He said, I played some soccer growing up, a little basketball, but no baseball. That wasn't until 15 years old. That's when his brother introduced him to the game. 15, guys, that's late to get introduced to the game. And that's when he first picked it up, and he told me his impressions. I don't like it. I don't like baseball, he told his brother. It's too much running. How about that, Keith?
We want to be a pitcher.
So anyway, he wasn't sure about the whole baseball thing, but one day a scout came to his door looking for his brother. And the scout said, hey, do you play? And he said, no. He said, well, you're kind of tall. You should try it. That got him thinking. And so he moved to the city with his brother to play not in a league, but kind of like just a locals game that they had once or twice a week, and started playing. He said he was 16, he was throwing 80 miles an hour, and he was okay, and started to like the game and get into the game.
Wainwright lines a base hit. His 5th hit of the year. 5 hits for a pitcher in April.
That's
pretty good.
Yes, sir.
That's pretty impressive.
I don't know what that sign was, but that was pretty funny by Wainwright.
Well, guys, the locals, after a while, so Gonzalez kept pitching in this league till he was really 19. And the locals finally said, hey, man, you're not going to get scouted. You're 19 years old. You're too old. It's not going to happen. So he went home. He went back to live with his mom and kind of gave it up. And then one day he just kind of missed playing, so he went back to playing the game as a first baseman. Didn't pitch, hadn't pitched since that time. They ran out of pitchers on his team, so in the 9th inning he came on and pitched. He didn't know there was a scout at the game, but there was. Scout came up to him after the game. He threw 93, 94. He had never hit that before in his life. 2 months later, he was signed at age 20. Here he is today.
You know what's amazing about that? Because as you mentioned, Kevin, most Dominican players sign at 16. Yeah. Not only Herman, but Rafael Montero didn't sign with the Mets until he was 20 years old. I mean, that's extremely unusual, and for 2 guys who are either in the big leagues or prime big league prospects to have that happen in the same organization is stunning.
I just think it's stunning to start at 15. I remember when I was 14, just turned 14, not even 14. was going to turn 14 that summer. I was playing American Legion ball already against kids that were 19 years old. I remember being an infielder and one of the college freshmen taking me out at second, and I didn't cry, but it felt like it. That's how much it hurt. And, you know, it's almost like you're playing against grown men.
Carpenter hits it out to center. Chris Young is there. 2 out. And back to first goes Wainwright.
When I quit my senior year in high school, the baseball team, my little argument with the coach, I played semi-pro ball on weekends, and I forget what, El Cerrito. It was the El Cerrito Cardinals.
They probably had like 30-year-old guys playing.
All college kids, and I was 17 years old. And I felt like I was paddling upstream. They were so much bigger and stronger than me.
That's right.
That's how you learn, though.
Well, you know what? You play against better competition. It makes you better.
Alan Craig 0 for 3. Hit the ball hard his last time up, and Eric Young went back and made a nice play. Gonzalez here, man, working in back of Dylan G, who pitched 6 solid innings.
It's good stuff right there. Good changeup. He's got as good a changeup as anybody in baseball.
And the ability to throw it to a right-handed hitter on the knees on the outside corner. Very difficult to do.
Broken bat pop up, and Murphy's there. And so here Ben works around the single by Wainwright. That takes us to the 7th inning stretch. David Wright to lead off. For tonight, the only Mets hitter to break up a no-hit bid in the 8th inning or later more than once. Interesting, because we teased talking about this a few days ago, never gave the answer.
I think I know the answer. I played with him.
I think both of you know him well.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's check in with Steve Gelbs and see what's coming up later tonight on SNY on Geico Sports Night. Steve?
I'm Steve Gelbs. Coming up, the Nets in Toronto for Game 2 against the Raptors, and the Rangers and Flyers in a pivotal Game 3 in Philly. We'll see you after the postgame.
Thanks, Steve. By the way, the guy, slight hint for our viewers.
Why?
The guy who did that, broke up 2 no-hitters late for the Mets, his number's retired.
Oh, that's true. That's true. It's a least likely kind of person.
David Wright leads off as the Mets try and get something going against Wainwright. The curveball hit out to right center field. Angling over is Jay. 1 pitch and 1 out for Wainwright on the home 7th. Right now 0 for 3.
But one of the things about this person, he had an incredibly long tenure as a Met.
He did. Here's Daniel Murphy. Murphy has one of the 4 Met hits, a bunt single in the 5th. Murph got aboard to start that 5th inning. Chris Young hit one over the fence and left. Matt Holliday brought it back. And that right now is the difference in this game. I mean, you can live with people robbing you of 2-run homers, but Matt Holliday?
Also, Cardinal robbing a Met of a home run here. It's supposed to be the other way around.
That was in the other ball.
Okay.
And Holliday didn't get quite the extension over the fence that Endy did.
I will say it's the only, well, because I can't remember when I was playing.
Murphy lines one to short. Peralta snags it, 2 out.
It's the only catch I've ever seen in a ballpark. I was there. That gave me goosebumps. The Endy catch, by the way. Talk about it.
I saw that on TV down in Florida.
You should have been there with us. We had such a good time hosting those pre and post game shows.
Oh, fans were so into it. It was cool to be around it.
Would you like to hear Jose Fernandez's line so far tonight in Atlanta?
I'd like to.
7 2/3, 2 hits, no runs, no walks, 14 strikeouts.
Oh, he's on.
Still going.
He's got that slide doobie working.
14. 1-0 to Young, who's hit the ball well twice tonight.
He didn't get timeout. He could have thrown a strike.
That was a common courtesy there by Wainwright.
He stepped out and the umpire did not give him time.
You're usually taught as a pitcher, if no time is called, you get a freebie. Just go get a strike. But common courtesy there by Wainwright to Chris Young.
There's a strike on the cutter. 2-1.
Take him out to dinner. Pour that strike in.
I would have poured it in, man.
2 out and nobody on. And Chris shatters his bat. Wainwright can't get there. Has to try to cover first. Adams goes for the tag, and he got him. Nice recovery by Matt Adams. Wainwright was not going to get to the bag.
Nice play by Adams here. Makes the tag. Boy, he saws him off.
Wainwright a little gimpy after making that effort to lunge and then stumbled.
Oh, you're right. A little bit of pain.
He'll be back.
That's around 1, 2, 3 in the 7th. Perhaps a painful one for Wainwright.
Well, Gonzalez Herman's first pitch in the 8th inning. Matt Holliday breaks his bat and finds the middle for a base hit. Third time Holliday's been on base tonight. And now Matt Adams has gone 2 for 3. Cardinals 2 runs and 8 hits. Mets no runs and 4 hits. Adam Wainwright looking for his second straight shutout. But what we don't know is whether he'll be healthy enough to go back out there for the bottom of the 8th after limping as he came off.
He's a gamer. He'll be back out there. He's just who he is.
Well, that's a good sign for the Cardinals that nobody's throwing.
Well, nobody up in the Met bullpen. Rice threw 7 pitches last night.
Lilliquist just gave him the handshake.
Whoa.
Looks like he's done. And they are getting action up now in the Cardinal bullpen. So we spoke too soon. Kevin Segrist, the hard throwing lefty, getting up. And Adams takes the changeup for a strike. 1-1. I don't know exactly what Wainwright heard, but obviously it must be something, because he wouldn't be coming out at 79 pitches unless it were. That's a good fastball by Herman. 1-2. Well, after throwing a complete game 2-hitter against the Nats, he comes back with 7 scoreless against the Mets. And the Mets will be trying to rally against a Cardinal bullpen that's been less than overwhelming so far. And Adams down on strikes. Nice work by Herman for the first out.
I thought he hyperextended his knee when he ran. See his right knee? I don't know if we can slow it down.
Might be.
But it kind of bent backwards.
Not the hyperextension like a catcher squat. It's stiffened out.
Yeah, stiffened. Yeah, straightened out.
It's definitely his right leg that he's limping on.
Watch right there. Right there. Yep, that's it. No doubt. I'm on the record.
Well, and what you don't know is whether it's something they'll have to worry about beyond today.
Well, they also know that he's the kind of guy that would like to go out there, so sometimes
hit and run play, and Molina fouls it off.
Sometimes as a manager, you've got to manage your people off the field. Get them off the field, get some ice on it, because you wouldn't want your best pitcher to go out there and change or alter his throwing at all because of, maybe a little tweak of his leg. Seems like the guy that all the starting pitchers are kind of have a smirk on their face as opposed to real worry. But
you think if it was something that was serious, the trainer would be there and they would have him up in the locker room getting ice.
Towards short, and a nice diving catch by Quintanilla. So Molina robbed for the second out.
Well, the defense keeps on rolling along, both teams here. Soft line drive, nice play by Omar. Lays it out. Nicely done.
Mets have gotten some nice work at shortstop the last 2 nights. Tejada last night, now Quintanilla. So 2-out Holiday still at first, and now John Jay, who's driven in the only 2 runs of this game, with a bases loaded single in the 4th. It's funny because the bad inning for Dylan G was the 4th, and the best inning for Dylan G was the 4th.
Yes.
Yeah, because he's kept his team in the ball game.
Gave up the 2 runs, and then they had bases loaded and nobody out, and he was able to work his way through any further trouble.
That's why I've always liked Dylan. He's got guts.
Herman working his second inning, trying to finish off John Jay, who's 1 for 3 tonight. And he comes inside with the fastball, 1-2.
Good pitch right there, 0-2. Got Jay fishing for 2 bad changeups, down and away. Now he pops them inside. Now you can do anything you want.
Looks like they're doubling up in there.
So now you're going to fights it off. You can go with a changeup now.
On to drive around the majors. Albert Pujols, first player ever to hit his 499th and 500th home run in the same game. Chris Sale, hip flexor. He goes on the DL for the White Sox. And Matt Moore done for the season. Tommy John surgery for the Rays.
I love how they say undergoes successful Tommy John surgery. What does that mean exactly?
Means,
you know when it's successful? A year from now. And then we'll
right.
see how successful it is.
Well, I
never
guess
understand that. That's a doctor's term.
Well, it means came out of it alive. Ground ball toward the hole. And a base hit for Jay. So the Cardinals have 2 men on as Holiday moves up to second. So now 2 out and 2 on for Peralta. By the way, one other note on Pujols' 500th home run. He hit his 400th home run in the same ballpark, Nationals Park. He hit that one off Jordan Zimmerman. And then 500 tonight against Taylor Jordan of the Nats. I think the Angels would have preferred he did it at home, but what can you do? 2 out and 2 on. Peralta takes a rip and fouls it off. By the way, we mentioned Jose Fernandez, 14 strikeouts. Alex Wood on the other side, 11. 1-0 Marlins in the 9th.
By the way, Alex Wood lost a 1-0 game in his last start, didn't he?
To the Phillies, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes your season goes that way.
modern day Gaylord Perry. Gaylord was always the hard luck pitcher for the San Francisco Giants when I was a young teenager.
1-1 to Peralta. Skips that one in there. 2-1.
This is the pitch you have to watch out for here. 2 outs, 2-1. Peralta is that kind of hitter. What do I mean by that? He's the guy, if he gets you in a certain count where you got to throw fastball, you better keep it down, because he's got tremendous power on that ball, middle of the plate in.
Nice. The change up and gets the strike.
That's a gutty pitch right there, boy.
Now you talked about how hard that pitch is to throw outside of the right-hand batter. Why is that so hard?
Because your natural tendency is that ball's you're going to turn it over. So its natural tendency is to move into the right-handed hitter. So it's almost like he's got to hold on to it another click before he lets it go. You've got to have the patience to wait to have your arm almost clear your head before you let that changeup go. And it's hard to do. Very hard to do.
I mean, it used to be you wouldn't even see right-hand pitchers throwing changeups to right-hand batters, much less on that side of the plate. Two outs, 2 on. 2-2 to Peralta. Up and away and a full count.
It's almost an automatic 3-2 change, isn't it, Keith?
I would think he's going to drop a little cambio on him here. Yes.
Runners will take off. Holiday at second, Jay at first. 3-2 and 2 down. And Peralta just got a piece to stay alive.
Interesting that he sent the runners there. Oh, it's 2 outs. Sorry about that.
See how the ball comes out of his fingers and just turns it over just enough for it to. It's 10 miles an hour slower, and the ball has movement down.
He's got a feel for it, doesn't he? That's a feel pitch. It's like when you're in between clubs.
8th pitch of the at bat coming from Herman to Peralta. And he walked him, and the bases are loaded. First walk given up by Herman. Now bases loaded, 2 out. You got the number 8 hitter, left-hand batter Wong coming up. Dan Warthen will head to the mound as Jerry's Familia is up again in the Mets bullpen. He was up back in the 4th inning when G was in trouble.
Well, this is not a spot to bring in Familia, who's been struggling a bit, hasn't pitched in a while, who can be a little wild.
Yeah, good point.
I was a little bit surprised Rice wasn't up with the left-handers that went through the lineup here, but Herman has got himself on a tight spot.
Daniel Descalzo out on deck to bat for the pitcher if Wong keeps the inning going. Let's answer our Verizon trivia question. We asked who was the only Mets batter to break up a no-hit bid in the 8th inning or later. He wore number 42.
That's right.
Ron Hodges.
Ron Schuler and Nolan Ryan. Ron Schuler, the general manager of the White Sox at some point.
Same Ron Schuler.
Yeah.
He was with the Braves, I would guess.
Yeah.
Schuler, I remember him. Big, tall guy.
Yeah, Schu.
So now Wong with the bases loaded and 2 out. He's 0 for 3 tonight. And takes the fastball low and away. Well, Jose Fernandez is not pitching the 9th. So he'll set up for 14 strikeouts in 8 innings, 3 hits, and a 1-0 lead handed over to Steve Cishek in Atlanta.
Cishek still have that streak going? He had a streak of 32 or 33 straight saves. I don't know if he still has that.
One 1-0 to Wong. And he popped it up foul. Darno coming back for a look, but that'll be in the crowd.
Darno, if he has a long career here in a New York Met uniform, he'll have less pop-ups to the catcher than anyone in the history of the game. I mean, there's nothing back there.
What is it, 44 feet or something like that?
Not enough.
Home plate to the backstop? Home plate to the backstop? Great for the fans, not for the pitchers.
Well,
in terms of getting those easy outs.
That's what it's about. I get it. I remember when the Mets were first talking about moving the fences, and I asked if they were going to push back the bricks behind home plate to give the pitcher a little more room. Laughed at. Again.
Take out those good seats. Kidding. 1-1 from Herman. Foul tip. 1-2.
They're pitching this young man up, Colton Wong, and he can't handle it, and he's swinging at it. Bad combination.
He's got a bit of a long swing.
Two. Up and away, 2-2.
Colton Wong suffers what a lot of smaller second basemen or middle infielders suffers from. He's got some pop, and sometimes these young players, when they're first in the major leagues, want to make their mark by hitting one out of the ballpark instead of base hit. Is huge for the Cardinals right here, and a big out for Herman.
Big pitch here. You don't want to go to 3-2 with the bases full. He's already thrown 40 pitches over an inning and 2/3.
And he is taking his time in between pitches.
2-2 to Wong. Popped it up. That'll come toward the stands and go out of play.
Or you can tie up Wong up and in. He can't get the head through at all. Pound him.
That's why I think the changeup is a dangerous pitch.
Right, exactly, Ron. He can catch up to it. You know, you got this long swing. You're taking a big chance.
Holiday, Jay, and Peralta the base runners. And Darno needs a conversation with Herman.
Very deliberate. If you're going to throw the changeup, RJ, if you want to go 2-3-2 and you got the guts to do it, throw that sinking change in the dirt, see if he fishes.
Final in Atlanta. Marlins 1, Braves nothing. Steve Cishek struck out Freddie Freeman to end it. So the Marlins back within a game of 500. Pretty good for a team that lost 8 in a row. Again, the 2-2 to Wong. Bouncing ball for Murphy.
Nice.
And Herman gets out of trouble in the top of the 8th. Mets will be facing the bullpen for the Cardinals in the bottom of the 8th, down 2-0. Hog Network. SNY Super Slow Motion is brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Visit them on the web at searchmercedes.com. Four-year-old Kevin Segrist on in relief for St. Louis. Lucas Duda will stay in to face the lefty, and he takes a strike.
Well, I would say he was the biggest surprise of all the relievers they brought up from the minor leagues last season. You've seen 10 games so far this year, but brought him up throwing 95 plus left-handed.
It's almost all fastballs from Segrist. He's thrown it about 90% of the time so far this year. And you saw the unlikely numbers there. The lefties have been hitting him pretty hard early, which is, I'm sure, why Terry Collins leaves Duda in this spot. Ball and 2 strikes. Duda has one of the Mets' 4 hits. Adam Wainwright forced out with an apparent leg injury. 7 innings, no runs, 4 hits, no walks, 3 strikeouts. Now has a 1.46 ERA.
17 straight scoreless innings now.
Let's get Jose Valverde and Daisuke Matsuzaka up in the bullpen. If the Mets were to tie or take the lead, there's no guarantee Kyle Farnsworth is available today because he's pitched back-to-back days. Farnsworth got his first save as a Met yesterday. 1-2 from Segrist and the breaking ball outside. 2-2. Carlos Martinez, another young hard thrower in that Cardinal bullpen, getting ready.
And they could have put Martinez into the starting rotation, but they opted to keep him in the bullpen, and he got his last outing, got rocked in Washington.
Duda hits one to deep left field, sending Holiday back. He's got room. And makes the grab, 1 out. Well, I think that if Kelly were down for a longer period of time, they probably would have moved Martinez, but Kelly's only supposed to miss 2 starts.
And I thought Lyons did a nice job last night, right?
So 1 out now. Darno, who is flying to left and grounded into a double play, 0 for 2. Well, last night the Mets won 2-0. Tonight it's the Cardinals with a 2-0 lead in the 8th. As Darno goes after that 96-mile-an-hour fastball.
He's got some run on that fastball also, away from the right-handed hitter.
Segrist out of Palm Beach Community College, 24 years old. Last year pitched in 45 games for the Cardinals, 39 2/3 innings, 17 hits allowed, 2 runs.
Cholula.
Oh, he's a hard thrower.
That's your Cholula for tonight. Darno skies one into shallow right. And Alan Craig squeezes it, 2 out.
It's almost an embarrassment of riches for the Cardinals, isn't it? Seems everyone they put in that bullpen is 95 plus. We haven't even discussed Jason Mott, who's coming back probably next month at some point. He's 95 to 100.
Well, now Satin will be used as a pinch hitter to bat for Quintanilla.
And they say that Jaime, the left-hander, Garcia has been throwing the ball in his rehab. They're really pleased with his progress.
So the Cardinals soon could be overloaded with options.
And the Cardinals gave him a big contract. He's got 2 more years after this on that contract with an option year, I believe.
Satin started at first base last night against the lefty. Walked twice, went 0 for 1. And the curveball misses. Ball and a strike.
See why he doesn't throw that slider much. It's kind of he gives it away, Keith. He kind of slows his motion down a little bit. And I think for the experienced hitter, they'd notice that.
Well, you've seen him just throw away to, and likes to pound right-handers in. But kept the ball away from Duda.
You know, he throws like a little bit to me, and I haven't. Steve Howe, remember Steve Howe?
Yes.
How he used to throw. He reminds me of him a little bit. It's free and easy, and the ball jumps out of his hand.
Yeah, Howe was very deceptive. Threw hard, straight.
Now Segrist with the 1-2. And Satin drills one to center, but right at Jay. And that retires the side. So 3 fly ball outs for Segrist, and that sends us on to the 9th. Cardinals 2, Mets nothing. Friday for Free Shirt Friday, when the Mets take on the Marlins at 7:10 p.m. All fans in attendance will receive a Mets-themed Empire State Building T-shirt courtesy of Budweiser. For tickets, visit Mets.com/FreeShirtFridays. Ruben Tejada comes in to play shortstop, and Jose Valverde will pitch the top of the 9th for New York. Daniel Descalso will pinch hit for Segrist. And he takes the first pitch splitter outside for ball 1. It's a new Jose Valverde.
It's almost like they said, Jose, you're going to have to mix it up. Okay. No more fastballs, just split fingers. I mean,
pitched a scoreless inning on Sunday and was the winning pitcher in the 14-inning game. Lost his closer's role to Kyle Farnsworth for the moment. So Bobby Parnell gets hurt opening day, blows the save.
Yeah.
And since then, the Mets have had 3 different pitchers get saves.
Okay, Valverde's one, Farnsworth.
Torres.
Okay.
Valverde and Farnsworth. Mets have only had 4 saves by 3 different pitchers. The last time that happened, 1997. John Franco, Greg McMichael, and Toby Borland. Might have been Borland's only save as a Met. I'd have to look that up.
But Johnny was still the closer, wasn't he?
He was, and he wound up saving 36 games that year, but he might have been banged up to start the year.
Or played some extra inning games. Right. You never know, yeah.
Descalso walks out 4 pitches to lead off in the 9th, and now Matt Carpenter's gone 1 for 4.
Well, you're talking about a guy, we've been blowing his horn here. Carpenter making contact. You could hit and run here. You could bunt. You've got David Wright in at the corner, but for the potential bunt. But you're 2-0. I think that's safety first. I put the hit and run on.
Scalzo, not a speedster. Carpenter takes off the plate. Valverde still hasn't thrown a strike.
I like this play. A couple of reasons. I'm with you, Keith. Is that Carpenter 199 hits last year, and plus Craig behind him is struggling right now.
You can do it 1-0. You can put a hit and run on 1-0. Valverde needs to throw a strike. Oh, a little splittage.
Gets it over for his first strike.
Fans are tough tonight.
Is that considered a Queen's cheer?
Interborough. It's a Whitestone Bridge cheer. There goes Descalzo. The pitch outside. Darno's throwing a couple of hops, not in time. And Descalzo steals the base.
Strong throw from Darno. Watch him come up. Good footwork right over the top. I mean, it's a short hop, but just too good a jump.
First steal of the year for Descalzo as Murph's glove came up fielding that one hopper.
He does throw over the top, but watch Valverde. You better get out of the way. I mean, that ball hits right over the mound. And a couple of hops.
So Descalzo at second and nobody out. Carpenter takes a strike on the inside, and it's 2-2.
Imperative right now in a ball game like this, 2-0, ninth inning. As a hitter, you drive that run in by pulling, or minimum you get him advanced to third.
Even with 2 strikes?
2 strikes, you got to go to hitting.
Okay.
Two to Carpenter.
Oh.
Strike 3 call. Got him looking at the fastball for the first out of the inning.
Wow. Caught looking his right. Thought he was going to get a split. And a cheddar right down the outer half down.
But that's what Terry Collins was talking about tonight. He said if Valverde just shows the splitter, that at least puts another idea in the hitter's mind.
Yeah. Got to mix him up. The same thing was with Herman last year. He went around the league, threw all of his changeups, and the league caught on. And how he's mixing them up and finding success.
Here's Alan Craig, who's 0 for 4 tonight. By the way, we mentioned Jose Fernandez and Alex Wood in that pitcher's duel. How about Johnny Cueto? 8 scoreless innings against the Pirates tonight, 2 hits. His ERA down to 1.18.
He's been a hard luck pitcher.
3-0 he leads in the 9th. There's a fastball strike. 1-1 to Craig.
You know, it's amazing. Johnny Cueto is a really good pitcher. Never seen him throw a good game.
Well, he never beats the Mets.
Never seen him throw one of those kind of games like he's having tonight.
1-1 to Craig. Bounced over third and just foul. Well, when you're going bad and Craig's going bad, these go foul by a couple of inches.
Barely. Seen a lot of balls in this homestand pulled to David's right.
Yeah. David's playing off the line consistently.
Yeah, a lot of balls pulled.
Trevor Rosenthal, the closer, along with the left-hander Randy Choate in the Cardinal bullpen.
This would not have been the case last season, but Rosenthal has not had a lot of clean innings so far this year.
Well, the Mets have Bobby Abreu ready to pinch hit leading off in the bottom of the 9th. Fastball, foul tip, strike 3.
Boy, Craig is really not swinging the bat good at all.
Back-to-back strikeouts for Valverde.
Throw it by him, Ronnie. Good spot.
You're talking about a team with 2 strikes, with runners in scoring position last season. You could almost book a hit. They can't book contact right now.
So after the leadoff walk and the steal, Valverde struck out 2 in a row, and now Holiday, who's been on base 3 times, 2 singles and a walk, and scored one of the 2 St. Louis runs. Look, Holiday's biggest contribution tonight, and it's rare that you say this about him, was with his glove.
That was off the bat of Chris Young.
Took a 2-run homer away from Young.
Back in the 5th. There's Bobby Abreu.
Likely to make his Mets debut in the bottom of the 9th. That's a fastball strike. 1-1. Yeah, that's on the outside corner, and Valverde had 1-2.
Two perfect pitches right there. There's nothing you can do as a hitter. I mean, that scrapes the outside corner.
One and two to Holiday. Line the other way, a base hit. To third comes Descalso being waved home. Granderson's throw to the plate way off line. It's an RBI single. Now hung up between first and second is Holiday. And Tejada tags him out to end the inning. But an insurance run for the Cardinals on Holiday's third hit of the night. He brings in Descalso to make it 3-0 St. Louis as we go to the bottom of the ninth at Citi Field. And today's photo comes from Rose Horowitz, posing with Curtis Granderson.
Curtis photobombed him.
Follow every Mets game with MLB.com at bat on your favorite mobile phone or tablet. And we'll have a replica batting helmet this Saturday at 7:10 when the Mets play the Marlins. Trevor Rosenthal will bid for his 6th save. It's been an up and down start for the fireballing Rosenthal.
Well, he had 108 strikeouts last year. That was third amongst NL relievers. Throws between 95 and 100.
This is Bobby Abreu making his Mets debut. The 40-year-old brought up from Las Vegas yesterday. Played winter ball for Mets hitting coach Dave Hudgens down in Venezuela. Liked what he saw. Was raking at Vegas. 2,437 hits in Bobby Abreu's career. And he hits one in the air to left field, chasing Holiday back to the edge of the warning track. 1 out. You have to say that Bobby Abreu, when you look at his career, fits perfectly with the Mets' offensive philosophy.
On base percentage
takes
guy.
a lot of pitches, draws a lot of walks, hit for power back in his prime.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like 10 years ago when he was as good as anyone on getting on base.
Lifetime .396 on base percentage. Here's Eric Young when he takes ball 1. The word on Trevor on
Adam Wainwright
is exactly what you guys suspected. Hyperextended right knee.
Yep. He'll be okay. Should ice it right now. 24-hour ice.
Is there anything that ice will not solve?
Trauma injuries. the bruising. You got to Ron Hunt, school of Ron Hunt. Kept me in the lineup over my career.
I always heard external and internal icing is important.
Well, what kind of internal are you talking about?
Eric Young has one of the Mets' 4 hits tonight, a single in the 6th inning. They need a base runner any way they can get one to give themselves a chance. Down 3-0 in the 9th. Trying to avoid being shut out for the 2nd time this season. And there's ball 4. So there's the first step. Mets now need one more base runner to get the tying run to the plate.
And it's not what you want to do when you got nursing a 3-run lead.
And just watching Rosenthal, I mean, he was throwing 100 at times last year. He doesn't look like the same guy right now.
Well, you know, you're talking about a guy who had his first big taste of pitching in the big leagues all of last season. Then, Gary, add the postseason onto that.
Now Granderson 0 for his last 22. 0 for 3 tonight. Curtis watches wide, ball 1, and Molina looking a little perturbed with Rosenthal. Is going to walk that ball back out to the mound.
Rosenthal has 5 walks now in 9 2/3 innings pitched.
So the Mets hoping for some hope here in the 9th. Tomorrow night, game 3 of this series. Jonathan Neese for the Mets, Michael Wacha for the Cardinals. Our coverage begins at 6 o'clock tomorrow, right here on SNY.
Boy, that run in the 9th looks huge now, doesn't it, guys? You know, you're talking about a walk and a blast, and you're tied, batting more.
We got David Wright on deck, so a big at bat for Granderson if he can get on. And that one misses, and it's 2-0. Right now, at this juncture of the game, a walk is as good as a home run. Just to get that tying run to bat. Oh, wow. Rosenthal really missing the plate. It's 3-0. And his body language is not good.
Yeah, they're going to get someone up. They have to.
Well, the Cardinals got to have this game. They've lost the last 3 out of 4.
I mean, that's not even close to 2-0.
Nice. I espy a little Archie Bell.
Yep.
Now you got to take one here. And that's ball 4. Now the tying run comes to bat with David Wright. Back-to-back walks, which issued by Rosenthal. And that'll get the pitching coach Derek Lilliquist out to the mound.
Looks like he lost his confidence a little bit, along with his mechanics. Someone's going to get up. I know we showed an empty.
Well, Choate was up earlier, along with Rosenthal. You got Murphy 2 batters away, so might want the left-hander for him. But it's going to be Rosenthal to face Wright.
Do you find that interesting that Molina did most of the talking there, not the pitching coach Lilliquist?
David is 0 for 3 tonight. He has a 12-game hitting streak on the line. He's got that little bit of that deer in the headlights look right now. We call that the Schiraldi look. Matt Suzaka up in the Mets bullpen in case the Mets tie this up and send it on to the 10th. Wright is 1 for 2 in his career against Rosenthal. 2 on and 1 out. Mets down by 3 in the 9th.
Oh,
breaking ball to start him off.
How many times do you see that? A pitcher struggling with his fastball, and then they throw a curveball first pitch.
Just change it up. A pitch that David, to be the last pitch he was thinking about there.
And one to take. Still sitting fastball, dead red.
David takes a big rip, and it's 0-2.
Well, it's got to be a good feeling to rear back, throw it as hard as you can, and it's down the middle, and you still can't catch up to it.
96 from Rosenthal. David's only home run came opening day. Tying run at the plate in the 9th. Watch two.
Change up.
Wow.
Oh.
One, two to right. Into the air down the right field line. Long run over there for Craig near the sidewall. It goes out of play.
You got to think you're going to get another breaking ball, don't you?
Well, you sure don't want to throw up a helicopter. Yeah. And it's 3-0.
Carlos Martinez up in the Cardinal bullpen. 1-2 to David.
Yes.
And it's on the outside corner, and Wright is caught looking. And not happy with Jeff Kellogg's call in the slightest.
I thought it was knee-high outside corner. We'll see. Let's watch the glove of the catcher. It's knee-high, that's for sure. It looks like a strike to me. Let's see. He framed it. That's at the knees. Oh, yes.
So the Mets are down to their final out. Daniel Murphy comes to bat. Murphy is 1 for 3, a bunt single back in the 5th. 2 on, 2 out, last of the ninth. Ball 1. If Murphy can keep it going, Chris Young, who has hit 2 balls very hard tonight, would be next. And Murph slaps one to short. Peralta is there, and that'll do it. The Cardinals shut out the Mets. Adam Wainwright goes 7 for the win. And the Cardinals have evened up this series as the two teams have exchanged shutouts in the first 2 games as St. Louis wins 3-0.
Well, a real pitcher's duel. Dylan G for the Mets had 1 tough inning, pitched out of it by only giving up 2 runs and stranded the bases loaded. But Adam Wainwright has been great. 17 now consecutive scoreless innings, left with an injury, but the bullpen for St. Louis had enough.
Well, too much Wainwright and only 4 hits. As Ronnie said, a terrific catch by Holiday back in the 5th in left field that robbed Chris Young of a home run that would have made it a 2-2 ball game. And just too much Cardinal pitching. Mets couldn't mount much offense.
Tough luck loss for Dylan G, who gave up a couple of runs in the 4th inning over 6. And that's enough to beat him tonight, hand him his first loss of the season. Cardinals win it 3-0. We'll come back with more from Citi Field in just a moment.